The sun hung low in the sky over Earth, casting an ominous orange glow over the cities. For weeks, there had been rumors of strange transmissions, signals from deep space that scientists couldn't make sense of. But no one was prepared for what would come next. It all started with a chilling broadcast. A transmission, garbled and distant at first, filled every screen around the world. The voice that followed was cold, mechanical, and unyielding. "This is the Galactic Dominion. Surrender Earth and its inhabitants to us, or face annihilation." The voice lingered in the air for a few moments, the words echoing in the minds of everyone who heard them. No one dared respond. No one could. And before any government or military official could formulate a plan, the unimaginable happened. Without warning, the sky was shattered by the appearance of massive alien warships, cloaked so expertly they seemed to materialize out of nowhere. These ships were like nothing Earth had ever seen, dark, towering, and glimmering with unfamiliar technology. They hovered above major cities, casting a shadow so vast it seemed to swallow the very light itself. The world held its breath, waiting for the next move. But there was no time to prepare. The fleet unleashed a devastating attack. Beams of energy erupted from the alien ships, striking the cities below. Buildings crumbled, bridges collapsed, and the streets filled with dust and smoke. The first wave of orbital bombardments tore through Earth's major cities, and chaos spread like wildfire. Major Alex Renner, a seasoned soldier, stood frozen for a brief moment, as the world he knew turned to ashes. He had seen war before, but this was on another level. His home city, once filled with life, was now a burning ruin, consumed by the alien assault. He could feel the ground shake beneath him as the explosions echoed in the distance. He snapped back to reality. There was no time to mourn. He had to move. His unit, a small team of elite soldiers, had been stationed nearby, ready to respond to any threat. Now, they were humanity's last hope. Major Renner gathered his squad, rallying them with a fierce urgency. "We fight back, or we die trying," he shouted, his voice hoarse but filled with determination. But as they made their way through the war-torn streets, the ground suddenly shook once again, this time from something closer. A massive alien force had landed. Soldiers in black, armed with advanced weaponry, poured from the ships. Renner and his team barely had time to react. A firefight broke out. In the confusion, Renner found himself in the heart of the battle, facing off against an alien soldier towering above him. The creature's eyes glowed with a menacing light as it raised its weapon. Renner dodged, narrowly avoiding the blast, but not before the alien's sharp blade slashed across his side, leaving a deep wound. Blood seeped through his tactical vest, but he gritted his teeth, refusing to let the pain slow him down. His soldiers were counting on him. As the alien raised its weapon again, Renner's best friend, Bonner, lunged into action, taking down the creature in a swift motion. Bonner's face was streaked with dirt, sweat, and blood, but his eyes held a glint of something deeper: fury, grief, and a burning desire to protect their home. "You okay?" Bonner asked, his voice rough. Renner nodded, despite the searing pain in his side. "We have to get to the command center. We can't let them take Earth without a fight." Bonner and the others didn't hesitate. They moved swiftly through the wreckage, taking out any alien troops they encountered. The human resistance was small, disorganized, and under-equipped compared to the well-armed invaders, but the one thing they had was heart, and Major Renner was determined to lead them. As they approached the command center, they encountered more alien forces. A mix of desperate survival and tactical brilliance kept them going. They knew the odds were stacked against them, but the enemy hadn't counted on one thing: humanity's spirit. The battle was far from over, but Major Renner felt a burning resolve deep inside. No matter what it took, Earth would not fall today. They would fight for every inch of their planet, for every family, for every life. Renner's team had already lost so much, but they weren't ready to lose everything just yet. As they reached the command center, Renner looked over his team, who were battered and bloodied, but still standing. Bonner, Lana, the brilliant hacker who had hacked into the alien comms, and a few others were still by his side. They were the last line of defense. Renner took a deep breath, looking up at the sky, now filled with the looming alien ships. The future of Earth was uncertain, but one thing was clear: humanity would never surrender. "Let's show them who they're messing with," Renner said, his voice steady but filled with determination. The team set their sights on the looming challenge ahead. What seemed like a suicide mission was now their only hope. With every step forward, they felt the weight of their planet's survival on their shoulders, but also an unwavering strength that came from their shared purpose. The battle was only just beginning. After the brutal assault from the alien fleet, Earth's government lay in ruins, cities burned to the ground, and the global communication network severed. With the planet in chaos, people were left to fend for themselves. Amid the devastation, small pockets of survivors began to emerge. These groups, though scattered, shared one thing in common: a fierce determination to resist the invaders who had torn their world apart. Major Alex Renner, still recovering from his injuries, knew that he couldn't stand idly by. His team, now reduced to a handful of soldiers, joined the growing resistance movement, a loose network of civilians and military personnel fighting for survival. They moved in the shadows, always on the run from alien patrols and the ever-present threat of the cloaked ships lurking in the sky. The resistance fighters were a diverse group, each carrying their own scars from the initial attack. Among them was Bonner, Renner's loyal comrade, who had lost everything. His family, his home, everything was gone. His grief was a constant weight, but it fueled his determination to fight back. He was more than a soldier now. He was a man consumed by the need for vengeance. One day, the group came across a small civilian enclave hiding in the ruins of what had once been a bustling city. It was there that Renner met Lana, a brilliant hacker who had managed to stay one step ahead of the alien technology. Lana was the key to understanding how to fight back. She had spent months studying the alien systems, learning their weaknesses, and developing ways to disable their advanced tech. "You're the ones they call the last hope," Lana said when she first met Renner. "We need to be smarter than them. If we can find a way to bypass their cloaking devices and hack into their AI systems, we might stand a chance." Lana wasn't just a hacker. She was a living blueprint for resistance. She had uncovered ways to detect the cloaked alien warships and intercept their communications. She showed Renner and his team how to spot minute disturbances in the atmosphere, faint signals that indicated the presence of cloaked ships overhead. It was like finding a needle in a haystack, but Lana had made it possible. The discovery of these cloaking vulnerabilities gave the resistance a glimmer of hope, but it wasn't enough. They needed more. The alien technology was far superior to anything humans had. The AI that powered their warships was nearly invincible, making it nearly impossible to outmaneuver them in battle. Despite the odds, Renner and his team were determined to fight. They gathered in the underground hideout, surrounded by old maps, makeshift computers, and weapons that were barely holding together. They discussed their strategy late into the night, going over every possible weakness they had uncovered. "We need to hit them hard, fast," Renner said. "The element of surprise is all we have left. If we can disable their AI for even a moment, we'll have a shot at taking one of those warships down." But every plan came with risks. The alien forces were ruthless, and any strike against them would come at a steep price. The team members knew that, but they were ready to sacrifice everything. As Renner, Bonner, and Lana went over their plan, the weight of their mission was felt by all. It wasn't just a fight for survival, it was a fight for their homes, their families, and everything they had lost. Bonner, who had kept his emotions bottled up for so long, was the first to speak. "They took everything from me," he said, his voice tight with anger. "My family, my wife and kids are gone. I will make them pay for what they did." Renner placed a hand on his shoulder. We all have something to fight for. We're not alone in this. We fight for Earth, and we fight for each other." Bonner nodded, though his eyes burned with the same rage that had been consuming him since the attack. It wasn't just about revenge anymore. It was about stopping these invaders from ever doing this to anyone again. The emotional toll on the team was undeniable, but it also brought them closer together. They became more than just soldiers. They became a family, united by a common cause. As the days passed, they grew stronger, each battle further bonding them. They were underdogs, armed with little more than their will to fight, and the hope that humanity could still rise above the overwhelming odds. One day, while scavenging through the wreckage of an alien supply ship, the team stumbled upon something that could change everything. An alien weapon designed to disable cloaking devices. It was a long shot, but with Lana's expertise, they could reverse engineer the device to give them a fighting chance. Lana immediately got to work, carefully analyzing the weapon's components. She spoke in a calm, measured tone, explaining every step of the process to Renner and the others. "If we can harness this, we'll be able to detect cloaked ships more easily. This could be the breakthrough we've been waiting for." For days, Lana worked tirelessly, her fingers flying over keyboards and adjusting circuits. Renner and Bonner provided security, keeping watch for any alien patrols that might stumble upon their hidden location. The tension was unbearable, but there was no turning back now. Finally, after what felt like an eternity, Lana looked up, her face illuminated by the glow of the machine she had just assembled. "It's ready. We can use this to track their ships, and more importantly, we can use it to bring down their cloaking shields for a short period of time." The group felt a surge of excitement, but it was quickly tempered by the gravity of the situation. They still had a long road ahead of them. The alien forces were ruthless, and one wrong move could cost them everything. But this weapon, this was their chance. The resistance was no longer just surviving. They were starting to fight back. The team gathered around Lana, their faces set with determination. They knew that the first strike would be their most dangerous, but it was a risk they had to take. Earth's fate rested on their shoulders, and they would not let it slip away. The time to fight back had come. The resistance was forming, and humanity was ready to prove that they would never bow down to their alien invaders. The battle for Earth was just beginning, and Major Renner, Bonner, and the rest of the team were ready to take the fight to the heart of the Galactic Dominion. The resistance had been planning for weeks. The stakes had never been higher. The team, now equipped with the alien weapon that could disable cloaking devices, had managed to infiltrate a key alien supply convoy. This was their first real strike, and the pressure weighed heavily on Major Alex Renner and his team. It was do or die. The plan was simple: ambush the convoy, steal critical supplies, and most importantly, gather intelligence. But as always, things rarely go as planned. The convoy was traveling through a deserted stretch of land, the perfect place for an ambush. The team set up in the hills, hidden behind rocks and debris. Lana, with her hacking skills, managed to disable the convoy's security system, rendering their cloaking tech useless. The convoy was visible now, vulnerable, but the aliens were no fools. They had heavy security and were always on high alert. It was only a matter of time before they noticed something was wrong. The humans didn't wait. The first explosion rocked the convoy, sending shockwaves through the alien ranks. The sky was lit up with fire as the convoy vehicles were hit, and the deafening sound of gunfire and explosions filled the air. The humans had chosen their moment well. They'd moved swiftly, using the cover of smoke and the surrounding terrain to their advantage. Major Renner led the charge, his rifle in hand, adrenaline coursing through his veins. The resistance soldiers used guerrilla tactics, attacking from all directions, using the terrain to remain hidden as long as possible. They were outnumbered, but their strategy was precise, and the alien forces weren't prepared for the level of chaos the humans had unleashed. Bonner, his face grim with determination, led a team to take out the alien sentries guarding the convoy's rear. The gunfire was intense, each shot reverberating through the thick air. The humans were a blur of motion, sprinting across the battlefield, firing on the move, and then vanishing back into the shadows. The alien soldiers, despite their advanced technology, struggled to keep up. Explosions ripped through the convoy, and flames danced in the distance as the resistance pushed forward. It was chaos, fire, smoke, and the constant crackling of gunfire. As the convoy's vehicles exploded, the camera zoomed in on the wreckage. Alien war machines were burning, twisted heaps of metal, their advanced technology now useless in the face of humanity's fury. The bright flashes of explosions contrasted sharply with the harsh landscape. Despite the destruction, there was a sense of determination in the eyes of every soldier. The resistance would not falter. The humans were fast, efficient, and relentless. They used the aliens' own tactics against them. When one of the alien soldiers tried to escape on foot, he was swiftly gunned down. The soldiers didn't wait for orders. They acted instinctively. They had become a unit, working as one, each move in sync with the next. The aliens, while technologically superior, were not prepared for the ruthlessness and speed of their human adversaries. But despite their success, the resistance paid a heavy price. As the convoy was finally neutralized, the humans took stock of their losses. Several soldiers had been injured or killed, and the emotional toll was evident on everyone's face. But Major Renner refused to let grief take hold. This was only the beginning. They had struck the first blow, but there was much more to be done. During the aftermath of the ambush, the team was able to capture one of the alien commanders. The interrogation was tense. Lana and Renner worked together, hacking into the commander's data systems while pressing him for information. The alien resisted at first, but after some intense persuasion, he cracked. The information they uncovered sent a chill down Renner's spine. The Galactic Dominion, the alien empire that had launched the invasion, had been preparing to ship Earth's enslaved population to off-world labor camps. The news hit the resistance like a ton of bricks. The aliens had not just come to conquer, they had come to turn Earth into a resource, stripping it of its people and its future. The weight of that knowledge galvanized the team. It was no longer just about fighting for survival. It was about stopping an entire empire from enslaving humanity. The Resistance's goal was clear: free Earth and destroy the aliens before they could carry out their plans. The tension was palpable as Renner and the others processed the information. They had no choice now but to escalate the fight. The stakes had risen dramatically, and the Resistance knew they would be up against even more powerful forces. But there was one thing the aliens had underestimated: humanity's resolve. Despite the odds, despite the immense technological advantage the aliens held, the Resistance was no longer running scared. They had learned to adapt, to fight back with everything they had. This was no longer a fight for survival, it was a fight for freedom. The camera panned over the battlefield, showing the aftermath of the ambush. The wreckage was everywhere: burning alien war machines, twisted metal, and debris scattered across the ground. The smoke still hung thick in the air as the humans took stock of their victory. They had lost some of their own, but they had won this battle. The aliens had been dealt a heavy blow, but they would not stop. The war was far from over. The Resistance knew that the next phase of the fight would be even more brutal, and they would have to dig deeper to survive. But there was no turning back now. The counterattack had begun, and humanity had shown the aliens that Earth was not a world to be conquered easily. They had proven that they would fight to the very last breath to protect their planet, their people, and their future. As the team regrouped and prepared for the next stage of their mission, Renner stood at the forefront, looking out at the horizon. The path ahead would be long, and the battle would be fierce, but they had taken the first step toward victory. The fight was just beginning, and humanity was ready to face whatever came next. The moment Major Alex Renner and his Resistance team completed their first successful strike, they knew the aliens would retaliate. It was only a matter of time before the full might of the Galactic Dominion would be unleashed on Earth. The enemy wasn't just a group of invaders. They were an empire, and they were ruthless. The alien forces, having suffered significant losses, quickly regrouped, their massive warships appearing on Earth's orbit once more. They began plotting their final assault, aiming to wipe out the human resistance and quell any hope of survival. Their strength was undeniable, but the resistance had learned something crucial in their battles. They could fight back. The atmosphere was tense. Renner and his team knew they had to act fast. Earth was running out of time. Every day, more human captives were taken, and more destruction ravaged the planet. The resistance couldn't afford to waste any more time hiding in the shadows. It was time to take the fight to the enemy's heart. The plan was risky. The alien stronghold, located deep within an industrial complex, housed thousands of enslaved humans. The Resistance's objective was to infiltrate the facility, plant explosives, and destroy the location where humans were being held captive. It was a calculated risk, but if they could free the captives and cripple the enemy's operations, it would deal a massive blow to the invaders. They couldn't afford to fail. With Lana's hacking skills at the forefront, the team launched their mission under the cover of darkness. Lana had developed a method of bypassing the alien security system, allowing them to move unseen and unheard. The stronghold was heavily guarded, and the alien soldiers patrolled the perimeter relentlessly. But the humans were ready. They moved silently, slipping between shadows, avoiding detection at every turn. It was an eerie feeling, knowing that at any moment, the silence could be shattered by an alarm or the sound of an enemy patrol. But they pressed on, determined to free their people. As they entered the complex, the scale of the enemy's operation became clearer. The facility stretched for miles underground, with rows upon rows of humans shackled and forced into labor. The sight of their fellow humans, broken and enslaved, fueled the Resistance's anger. They had no choice now but to push forward. There could be no turning back. Lana quickly set to work, hacking into the alien AI system that controlled the facility's security. The enemy's tech was sophisticated, but Lana had grown adept at disabling it. She bypassed layers of encryption, taking control of the facility's cameras, weapon systems, and communications. For the first time, the Resistance had the upper hand in this battle. But time was running out. They had to plant the explosives before the aliens noticed their intrusion. Meanwhile, the rest of the team spread out, neutralizing guards and securing key locations. It was a delicate operation. They couldn't afford to make a sound, but the pressure of the mission weighed heavily on them. Every step could be their last. Then, as the team reached the heart of the facility, disaster struck. The alien forces had detected their presence. A high-pitched alarm blared, echoing through the corridors, signaling that the humans had been discovered. The plan had been compromised. The team's position was now exposed, and they were surrounded. A fierce firefight erupted. The Resistance, though outnumbered and outgunned, fought with everything they had. The air was thick with the smell of smoke and the crackle of laser fire. The team moved quickly, staying in constant motion to avoid being pinned down. But the alien soldiers were relentless. The clash between the Resistance and the aliens was nothing short of chaotic. In the midst of the battle, Bonner, one of Renner's closest allies, found himself cornered by an alien squad. He knew there was no way out. His comrades were still planting explosives, and the mission was too important to fail. Without hesitation, Bonner made the ultimate sacrifice. He threw himself into the line of fire, using his body to shield his teammates and give them enough time to finish their work. The explosion from his grenade took out the group of aliens surrounding him, but Bonner didn't make it. His final act of bravery had ensured that the mission would succeed, but it came at a terrible cost. Renner watched in horror as his friend fell. Bonner's sacrifice was a gut-wrenching moment that shook him to his core. The loss of his comrade left a hole in his heart, but it also ignited something deeper within him, a burning desire for revenge. He swore that the blood of every human lost would be avenged, and no alien would be left standing when the dust settled. The rest of the team continued their mission, their spirits fueled by the loss of their friend. They knew they couldn't afford to mourn just yet. The battle was far from over, and the clock was ticking. The explosives had been set, and all they had to do now was escape before the facility was obliterated. Lana managed to hack into the facility's communication system, sending a signal to the outside world to evacuate any remaining resistance members. The team made a desperate sprint for the exit, explosions rocking the facility behind them. The destruction they had wrought echoed through the stronghold as they ran for their lives. As they emerged from the complex, the massive explosion erupted, sending a shockwave through the ground. The alien stronghold was no more. The enslaved humans, who had been held captive in the depths of the facility, were freed. It was a major victory for the resistance, but the cost had been high. Bonner's death weighed heavily on Renner, but it also solidified the team's resolve. They were no longer just fighting for survival. They were fighting for justice, for revenge, and for the future of Earth. The resistance had taken a step closer to victory, but they knew the final battle was still to come. The aliens would not back down easily. They had underestimated humanity before, but now, with their strongest leader lost and their strongest stronghold destroyed, the war for Earth had entered its most critical phase. The fate of the planet rested in the hands of those who dared to stand against the invaders. And the resistance, despite their losses, was ready for the fight of their lives. With the death of Bonner still fresh in their minds, Major Alex Renner and his team found themselves more determined than ever to defeat the alien invaders. The resistance was no longer just a group of survivors. It had become a symbol of humanity's defiance, a beacon of hope in the midst of destruction. The people of Earth, having witnessed the loss of their homes, their families, and their way of life, now fought with a fire that could not be extinguished. They were no longer afraid. Now, they were angry. The alien forces had made a grave mistake by underestimating the resolve of humankind. Armed with advanced alien technology, the resistance began to turn the tide. With the help of Lana's hacking expertise, the team had learned how to use the enemy's own weapons against them. The alien cloaking technology that had once made their attackers so terrifying was now in human hands. The newly acquired tech, coupled with their relentless will to fight, gave humanity the upper hand. The tide had shifted, and Earth was no longer the underdog. It was ready to strike back. Renner, leading the charge, knew that this would be the final confrontation. They had no choice now but to go after the heart of the alien war machine, their massive mothership, the command center of the entire invasion force. It was a colossal ship, brimming with advanced alien drones, heavily armed defenses, and a fleet of AI-controlled vessels that would stop at nothing to annihilate the resistance. The mothership was a formidable opponent, but it wasn't invincible. Not anymore. The resistance launched a full-scale counterattack. A wave of humanity's fury descended upon the alien fleet as thousands of ships engaged in a deadly battle above Earth's atmosphere. The skies lit up with explosions as both sides exchanged fire. The humans, flying ships armed with stolen alien weaponry, darted through the chaos, their ships weaving between incoming enemy fire. The battle was a spectacle, an intense, fiery exchange of missiles, lasers, and plasma weapons. Earth's forces were not backing down. Renner's ship, an advanced fighter now equipped with alien technology, tore through the sky. It was smaller than the alien vessels, but it was fast and deadly. The ship's engines roared as it dodged blasts and returned fire, cutting through the alien fleet like a hot knife through butter. Explosions erupted all around as missiles and laser beams collided with the alien ships, sending them spiraling into space. Renner's crew fought fiercely, each one determined to make it through this fight, to avenge the losses they had suffered, and to give humanity the chance to survive. The battle above Earth was chaotic, but the humans weren't giving up. They breached the alien mothership's defenses, slipping through cracks in the enemy's armor. It was now or never. As the humans fought their way into the mothership, the massive alien vessel loomed over them like a death sentence. But the Resistance knew this was their moment. Their mission was clear: infiltrate the mothership, destroy its core, and bring down the entire alien operation. Inside the mothership, the battle continued. The humans fought with everything they had: fists, weapons, and the sheer force of will. The command center was heavily guarded, but the Resistance had come too far to let anything stop them now. They pushed forward, taking down alien drones and soldiers, leaving destruction in their wake. With Lana's tech support, the team was able to disable some of the alien security systems, giving them the edge they needed. But even with their newfound strength, the humans faced an enemy like no other. The AI systems controlling the alien forces were advanced, almost sentient. They had never encountered anything like it before. But the humans had something the aliens didn't: determination. Renner and his team made their way to the heart of the mothership, the control room. As they approached, the doors to the chamber opened, revealing the alien commander, the leader of the invasion force. It was time for the final showdown. The commander, an imposing figure with sleek, metallic armor, stood at the helm of the alien operation, its eyes glowing with cold, calculating intelligence. It was an artificial being, created to be the ultimate warrior, the perfect commander for the alien invasion. Renner and the commander faced each other across the control room, both knowing that only one would walk away from this fight. The stakes couldn't have been higher. The fate of Earth rested on their shoulders. The battle began with a clash of weapons, sparks flying as their blades collided. The alien commander was faster, more agile, and had advanced AI-enhanced strength, but Renner was human. He fought with everything in him, drawing on his years of training, his unshakable will to survive, and his burning desire to avenge his fallen comrades. The battle was intense, each movement a desperate attempt to outsmart the other. Renner used everything at his disposal: alien technology, human ingenuity, and sheer willpower to keep up with the commander's lightning-fast strikes. The two warriors clashed in a furious, high-stakes struggle, each one determined to come out on top. Sparks flew from their weapons as they fought in close quarters, the sound of metal on metal ringing through the room. Renner's heart raced as he fought with every ounce of his strength, knowing that this was the moment that would determine the fate of Earth. The fight reached its climax as Renner managed to disable the commander's shield system, leaving the alien vulnerable for just a moment. With a swift, decisive blow, he struck the commander, sending the alien crashing to the floor. But even then, the fight wasn't over. The AI systems within the mothership reacted quickly, activating an emergency defense protocol. The room began to shake as the ship's core destabilized, triggering a countdown to self-destruction. Renner knew they had to act fast. The team had planted explosives throughout the ship, and now it was time to detonate them. As the countdown ticked down, Renner and his team raced to the escape pods. The mothership was about to explode, and there was no time to waste. The Resistance had won the battle, but now they had to escape before they were caught in the blast. As the ship tore apart, the sky above Earth erupted in a final, brilliant explosion. The alien mothership was no more. The battle was over. Humanity had struck back. The aliens had underestimated them, and now they were paying the price. In the aftermath of the battle, Renner and his team stood on the surface of Earth, looking at the stars above. They had won. The war wasn't over, but this was a major victory. Humanity had proven that it would not go quietly into the night. It had fought, it had bled, and it had won. The aliens had come to Earth expecting an easy conquest, but they had learned a harsh lesson. Humans were not to be underestimated. This was just the beginning of the Resistance's fight for the future of Earth, and no alien force would stand in their way again. The smoke from the massive explosion still lingered in the skies, slowly dissipating as the colossal alien mothership crumbled in the distance. The once oppressive, dark silhouette of the invaders' fleet was now reduced to nothing but debris, scattered across the void of space. The victory was not just a battle won, It was a testament to the resilience and undying spirit of humanity. The protagonist, Major Alex Renner, stood on the command deck of his ship, gazing out into the starry expanse where the alien mothership once hovered. Its destruction was a moment of triumph, but it also marked the beginning of a new era. Humanity had been pushed to the brink, forced to fight for survival against a powerful alien force that had believed they were invincible. But they were wrong. The aliens had underestimated the humans, thinking that their advanced technology and AI supremacy would crush the Earth in no time. Instead, the humans had stood tall, fighting back with ingenuity, courage, and sheer determination. As Renner looked out at the stars, his thoughts turned to the fallen comrades, especially Bonner, who had sacrificed his life for the cause. Bonner's death was a reminder of the price humanity had paid for this victory. Renner knew that he had to keep fighting. For Bonner, for the millions of lives lost, and for the future of Earth. But for now, he allowed himself a brief moment of peace, knowing that they had won. Earth was free. Back on the planet's surface, the celebrations were in full swing. The war was over, and humanity had emerged victorious. People from all walks of life gathered in the streets, embracing each other, tears of joy mixing with relief. They had survived the darkest days of their history, and now they stood together as a united force. The invaders were gone, and Earth was theirs again. However, amid the joy and the triumph, Renner couldn't shake the feeling of loss. He had fought beside so many, and many of them were gone now. The memorials in their honor stood tall, a constant reminder of the sacrifices made to secure this victory. It was these thoughts that led him to visit Bonner's memorial, a somber place filled with the echoes of those who had given everything for this cause. Renner stood there, quietly reflecting, remembering his fallen friend, and all the others who had fought so bravely. Bonner had been a man of incredible strength, both in body and spirit. He had lost his family to the alien invaders, and though the pain of that loss had nearly broken him, it had also driven him to fight harder than anyone else. Bonner had been the first to volunteer for every dangerous mission, the first to leap into action when things seemed hopeless. It was his sacrifice that had turned the tide in their favor, buying Renner and the rest of the team enough time to destroy the mothership. Renner stood there, his hand on the cool stone of the memorial, silently swearing that Bonner's death would not be in vain. He had given his life for this victory, and Renner would make sure humanity would never forget that. As he stood in front of the memorial, Renner thought about what the future would hold. The Earth had won, but the war had taken its toll. The scars left by the alien invaders would be visible for generations to come, but they had also forged something new. Humanity had proven that it would never bow to an enemy, no matter how advanced or powerful. It had shown the universe that Earth would never be enslaved, no matter what forces came against it. This victory was not just about survival. It was about a new beginning. Humanity had found its strength in unity, in the unbreakable bond between its people. The final moments of the battle echoed in Renner's mind. The destruction of the mothership had been a moment of intense focus and effort. It was not just about weapons or advanced tech. It had been about human willpower, ingenuity, and the refusal to surrender. The AI-controlled alien forces, with their cold logic and superior technology, had been no match for the human heart, the human spirit. It had been the ultimate battle between good and evil, a fight where the underdog had triumphed against the overwhelming odds. The alien commanders, with their perfect algorithms and calculated strategies, had thought they had already won. But humanity had turned the tables, using every bit of their resourcefulness to bring down their attackers. The victory was sweet, but the cost had been great. Earth had lost so many, both soldiers and civilians. Their lives had been taken by the invaders, and many more had sacrificed their lives in the final battle to ensure the survival of the planet. For Renner and his team, this victory was bittersweet. They had saved Earth, but the scars of war would remain forever. As the celebrations continued around him, Renner felt the weight of the moment. The universe had learned a valuable lesson that day. Humanity was not a species to be underestimated. The aliens had come to Earth expecting an easy conquest, but they had learned just how wrong they were. They had faced the might of Earth's resistance, and they had lost. In the years to come, humanity would rebuild. The Earth would heal, and the scars of war would eventually fade, but the spirit of defiance that had carried them through would remain. Earth would continue to rise, stronger and more united than ever before. Renner knew that this wasn't the end. It was just the beginning of a new chapter in human history. The battle was over, but the war for Earth's future had just begun. Renner and his team would continue to fight, not just for survival, but for the right to live free in a universe that had once sought to enslave them. As he walked away from the memorial, Renner looked up at the sky. The stars above were clear now, free of the shadow of the invaders' warships. Humanity had won, and they had shown the universe what they were capable of. The fight was over, but humanity's story was just beginning.